Hmm.
Radial smart structures,
Hmm.
applications, piezoelectric effect, uh,
Okay.
and workings and materials.
Yeah, so basically we dealt about some application of smart structures, how does they work, and we started up with the piezoelectric material, what are its properties, like how we have to proceed with direct and indirect converse effect, and also we dealt about its applications and some conditions what we have to follow while selecting different categories of piezoelectric material. We also dealt about some naturally available piezoelectric material and synthetic type of materials which are being synthesized by the human beings to find an alternative for lead based piezo ones. So we dealt until there. So we have to proceed further, know in depth exactly how the basic mathematical equation is being developed for a piezoelectric material. So you should be a little bit strong enough in your mathematics and a strong concept of piezoelectric effect, how it's happening exactly. So based on that, we can formulate the mathematical equation and use it for any kind of application in which the piezoelectric material is essential. So with this background, I just want to continue further. The screen is visible, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all these we have come across already, the synthetic crystals and all. We were supposed to start with the principles of application. So before going into the application, on what aspects the applications are built. So these are built on some specific principles. So that you should be knowing aware of. So, the principles of applications are mainly of two categories. One is the energy conversion mechanism, and the second one is the transducer operating environment. So, you have studied about actuators, sensors, transducers, and all in your BTech level also. So, no need of me telling again. At least for my happiness, can I just ask what do you mean by a transducer?
Ma'am, it's a device which converts one form of energy into another form, ma'am.
Yes, exactly. Can you just give me an example for that?
Ma'am, a piezoelectric transducer, ma'am.
Very smart. Other than that,
My
is there any other type of transducers apart from piezoelectric? There are different
different type
classifications of those are materials, smart material, active and passive. Based on that, you'll classify. But still, there are other ultrasonic transducers, piezoelectric transducers, electrical and electronic based transducers. So you use this type of transducers, and some chemical oriented versions also are there. Based on the requirement, you will use it. So, okay, it's not necessary for us to go in depth to the transducers now. We are focusing on principles. So first principle is energy conversion mechanism. So you know that energy conversion mechanism even plays a vital role in our piezoelectric material also. So based on the energy conversion, we have two effects. One is the direct and the converse effect that you are aware already. So in based on this principle, you know what happens when an externally applied electric field is subjected to an piezoelectric material. What happens? It causes a change in the dielectric polarization. If the ions are oriented towards in this direction, then after polarization it might get moved in the direction in which it is polarized. It could be polarized in the x direction or in the y direction. So depending upon the polarization direction, the ions get moved or the domains direction will get changed within the crystal lattice. Okay, so this is induced due to the elastic strain. When we go for solving the mathematical modeling equation, you should be very familiar about the word. You know stress and strain, but what do you mean by elastic strain? When we use the word elastic strain, that you should come to know. So this word will be using only after polarization effect. Okay, so the change in the dielectric position of the ions are mainly due to the elastic strain. So the generating action takes place only when an elastic strain causes a change in the polarization. If there is no change in the polarization, then the strain induced in the material is not to be told as an elastic strain. Only if there is a change in the polarization due to the applied electric field, then the strain induced in the material, we call that to be as our elastic strain. Okay, so when an elastic strain is being induced, what happens? So it directly induces some amount of charge on the surface of the electrode. So each piezoelectric material will be having electrodes, one at the top and one at the bottom, to get the electrical contact, because you need some conductivity media, because all piezoelectric material are dielectric in nature. You need some surface contact at the top and the bottom which acts as a conductive material, and hence you need the electrodes. So it will be coated with some conductive material. It could be silver, yeah, platinum, yeah, gold, yeah, aluminium, whatever it is, based on the requirement and based on the cost factor funding. So you can design the product with respect to higher quality or the minimum quality which is needed to make a device and run it as per the requirement. So one thing, the word what you have to learn is elastic strain here, which is caused due to the change in polarization when the electric field is applied to the given piezoelectric material. Second one is, if you are devising a transducer made up of an piezoelectric material. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if you're devising a transducer made up of piezoelectric material, you should think about some acoustic properties. Because when you keep a transducer, even the external environment will play a vital role. It will be very sensitive to the external stimuli because you're using a smart material. So we should see about the media, the acoustic properties of the medium. So it could be in air, yeah, water, yeah, ice. So which is very essential while designing the concept of transducer. So when you design, draw a simple sketch for how your transducer should be, how compact it should be, and how compactness and quality and the design aspect as per the requirement of the customer. So while you do those design, you should keep in mind, the designer should keep in mind to which environment he is focusing as an application, whether it has to be subjected in air, or the transducer has to be placed in submerged in water, or it has to be held in a position where it is freezed out in the form of ice. So these are the acoustic properties one has to consider before designing an transducer, because the transducers must also withstand many effects with respect to seawater. The amount of saltness in the seawater also will affect, and the biological activity which takes place in seawater. What about the pressure variation in the seawater? Sometimes the hydrostatic pressure will be very high, medium, low. In the morning, it will be having a different pressure, hydrostatic one, and at the night and in the evening also it will change. And also the climate will not remain the same. With respect to the seasons, even the temperature keeps on varying. So all these factors will play a vital role if you want to keep a transducer across the sea or near to sea, submerged within the sea. Okay, so it is very essential to keep these factors when you think about application blindly without checking, surveying the environment in which you are going to place the product. You cannot design, because each and every requirement will be based upon the material what you select. Those materials should be having capabilities to withstand the external environment parameters. If you blindly design a transducer without thinking this aspect, then even though you manufacture the product, you cannot use at that particular location at all. Then it will become a scrap. So these are the principles what you have to think in mind before going for an application with respect to a normal piezoelectric device or an transducer. And you know that in a transducer, energy converts from one form into the another. So the conversion criteria also you should think about. So how the energy conversion will take place, whether it is in linearly, reversibly, in passivity. Even in transducer, we have transducer stage 1, transducer stage 2, transducer stage 3. So transducer stage 1 always sends the input data. So that data cannot be directly given. It has to be processed in the intermediate stage so that the input received from the first stage will be read as an input received from the first stage will be fed to the second stage as an output, but that cannot be directly given to the third stage. Some processing has to take place so that it will be helpful to get the required voltage. So we have three different stages of transducers. So depending upon the stages to which the transducers are used, you have to see the conversion criteria, whether from stage 1 to stage 2 the energy conversion is it needed linearly, yeah, it is needed passively, yeah, it is needed in a reversible form. Okay, so these criteria you have to think in mind. So if suppose the output of the transducer is a linear function of the input, then you can easily go with the conversion criteria for linearity. Suppose the transducer must convert energy in either direction, in both the direction. You know how a reversible reaction takes place, right? So the existing raw material could be split up into two products. And if the two products are split up and if the two products combining together should be able to give back the input what you have taken. So if that will be satisfied, then you say that reversibility. Sometimes you may need a transducer to convert the energy in the two directions. From the input to the output and again from output to that of the input, it should be able to go back. This happens when you are using a transducer in a closed loop condition where you need the input to be cycled into the output and the same output is again fed into the input without any losses. Sometimes there might be few losses due to the operation, but still the output will be taken as an input. So in those cases, reversibility criteria should be focused while designing an transducer. The last one is passivity type of. So what happens here? All the output energy from the transducer is obtained from the input energy. So here it could be either electrical or acoustical type of energy, means all the output energy from the transducer is obtained from the input energy. Obviously everywhere you get this, but this happens only in a stage 1 transducer where the input is converted into the output. It is not converting to any other device in between to process and to give the output in which the it is readable by the observer, because transducer has the capability to provide the input into the output in three categories. Only to display what is it, so it will record. And in the second thing is it could record. Oh, I just didn't explain properly. Transducer, it has input to that of the output. One category is the input will be converted into the output and you can just see what is the reading. It won't be able to record. And second option is the value what you're getting will be connected to a device such that it records and you can use that data. So that will happen in stage 2. And in stage 3 what happens, the output is you will first read the data that will be recorded, and if you need to transmit to some other device you can communicate the data to some other device so that from there the functional requirement from the output could be extracted. So these are the three varieties which happens. Okay, so based on that kind of thing you should understand all output energy from the transducer is obtained from the input energy. So this will happen in the stage 1 type of transducer. For stage 2 the displayed output will be recorded, and for stage 3 the recorded output will be transmitted to some other device. Okay, so at that time it won't be a passive type of it. Only when it converts from input to output and you're reading it directly without any action further, then the output what you get will be a passive type of thing. And if it is reversible on either direction, then it is a reversible type of energy. And only the linear way, the output of a transducer is linearly proportional to the input given without any losses, then you call to be as an linearity based conversion of energy in a given transducer. So these are some principles what you have to understand before relating the piezoelectric material to any application. I've just focused on one directly piezoelectric device, and one other one is the transducer. So this piezoelectric device could be an pressure sensor, right? An actuator, yeah, whatever. Even it could be an load cell. Then the applied load could be of different categories for a piezoelectric material. So the red color which has been shown here is a piezoelectric crystal. Okay, so it will be having like positive charges and negative charges. Okay, so the arrows here which has been showed indicates the direction in which the force is applied. So it is towards the crystal, then you can see that the type of force applied to the crystal is a compressive type of force. And here you can see it is a shear type of force. It is applying in the opposite direction, and here it is in the opposite direction. So you are subjecting a shear type of force. And here you need to apply the force across the tip of the given crystal to identify where the maximum stress is. At that time, the flexural type of strength will be coming into the picture. So what is flexural strength? It is defined as a maximum stress at the outermost fiber on either the compression or tension side of the specimen. So whether it could be an compression or tension side of the specimen. So if you want to determine the maximum stress, then you will determine the flexural strength. And the flexural module will be always calculated from the slope of the stress versus strain diagram. So always in piezoelectric material we get the stress versus strain diagram, because you apply the load, it induces some strain, then we get the required electrical output, and vice versa for the converse. And hence flexural, if there is a need to determine the flexural modulus for any product which is running based on piezoelectric material, then we need to get the data computed by plotting the graph versus stress versus strain. So you should be aware of what are the forces which could be applied on a given piezoelectric crystal. And some configuration, if you want to make it, suppose you know these are the available piezoelectric material, these are the properties of the piezoelectric material, and what is the application, you'll come to know whether you want to make a transducer, your actuator, your sensor, your whatever. So if you think about a sensor, now how the configuration of a sensor should be, that also you should understand. Again, the configuration of the sensor depends upon which type of sensor you need to make. Is it a force sensor? Yeah, is it a pressure sensor? Yeah, is it an accelerometer? Right. So if you want to determine the force apply, if you want to use this as a force sensor, so you have to configure in such a way that you will place the crystal at the center, and you provide a proper packing at the top and the bottom by using some dielectric material, okay, so that it will not directly affect our piezoelectric crystal. So then you will apply the load exactly at the center. So then you have to, this is a setup, and you have to do a well packaging, and packaging should be very compact so that it will not affect from the external stimuli, external environment. So this is how you have to configure an force sensor. Suppose you need to devise or make a pressure sensor, then you should configure in such a way that the force what you are applying should be uniformly distributed throughout the crystal. So in that case, you cannot apply the force only across the center, right? Our intention is to determine the pressure which is uniformly distributed across the crystal. So we'll apply a uniform amount of force throughout the crystal. So the packaging will be little bit different, and here the orientation of the charges were towards our x-axis, and here will be towards our y-axis from top to bottom approach. Okay, so this is about the pressure sensor. And if you need to measure some acceleration of some vibration in any particular system, then we usually use an accelerometer. So if you need an accelerometer, so how will be the direction? It will be almost like the same crystal. You will be just applying the force at the center, right? It will be an two-way type of force similar to the force sensor. Okay, so this will be the configuration in order to make a device. These are just the concept what you have to understand. Okay, so there is nothing much more into the technical. You have to understand piezoelectric material, its properties, what are the criterias for which application if you go, which are the principles you have to think in mind while designing either a transducer, yeah, load cell, any example you can take and explain. And if you think about after understanding the principles, you should also be aware of the configuration, how the packaging of an piezoelectric device will look for a sensor or a transducer or a load cell. I've just shown you with an example for sensor applications. So then you should also, I told you that piezoelectric effect will be of two types. One is the direct and the converse effect. So based on the conversion of energy from mechanical to electrical, yeah, from electrical to mechanical, you have some amount of applications listed down. So if they ask you to list out the application for direct, yeah, converse piezoelectric effect, you should be at least knowing some names in your mind to write down. So some of the applications here from mechanical to electrical conversion are cartridges, microphones, vibration based sensors, accelerometers, photo flash type of actuators, gas igniters and fuses. So these are the example where you apply a mechanical input and it provides an electrical output. And for the reverse, if you want to explain some applications from applying electrical field and getting the required mechanical deformation, then usually the applications in which we use this concept is for valves, micro pumps, earphones, yeah, speakers, even ultrasonic based cleaners, transducers and emulsifier. Okay, so these are the different applications which are there already in the current piezoelectric market. So you should be able to bifurcate for both direct as well as converse piezoelectric effect. So these are which are there in existence. And next, little more advanced applications of piezoelectric. So power could be generated when you walk on a smart road, or if a vehicle is moving on a smart road, also power could be generated. So in Iran and in one place of USA, they have already demonstrated making smart road for 1 kilometer. Initially they did it, and now for around 2-3 kilometers they have checked. So these are called as smart roads, which are developed by using piezoelectric generators. So what they do is, beneath the layer of the tar road, they will embed the piezoelectric generators. So when a person walks on it or when a vehicle moves on it, some amount of load is applied on the road, right? So that will be transmitted to the piezoelectric generator. So it results in generating some amount of electricity. So the amount of electricity generated by one piezoelectric generator will not be sufficient enough for using for any particular applications. It can able to induce the electrical power in the form of at the level of microvolts, yeah, millivolts. But we, for a domestic application or for industrial application, we need large amount of voltage. So what we can do is, so all the electrical energy generated from different piezoelectric generators will be transmitted to an battery. It could be a solid state battery, a supercapacitor is like a storage medium in which the electrical power could be stored. So many vehicles, a person walking might not help in generating large amount of electrical power, but when huge trucks are moving continuously from morning to evening on a same road, you can believe how much electrical voltage could be stored per day. So if you start accumulating like this, the storage of electrical power, then we can use this electrical power easily in the villages where there are no power or frequently there is short circuit of the power and power shortage, in that places we can use it very easily. Apart from that, in gym and workplaces, the minimum voltage needed to charge a laptop, a mobile, so that could be generated. If people are coming continuously, even more amount of electrical power can be generated. Right? So if you just same concept, if you just embed an piezoelectric generator, a piezoelectric layer below the workplace of gymkhanas, so based on the exercise what you're doing, based on the load which is bearing on this layer, so that much amount of equivalent electrical voltage will be generated. So this type of things will be very usable to store and use when it is required. So this is about the gymkhanas and the workplace where you can use. And next is mobile keypads and keyboards. If you embed a piezoelectric layer within the shoe, right? So when you walk, you run from morning to evening, if you are coming to college and going back until where, if you just use a shoe which has a layer of piezoelectric in it, so amount of load put by your body on it from morning to evening would be minimum to charge your laptop or any mobile phone. Okay, so these are some applications where you can use the stored energy to charge your devices. So those are general applications. And apart from that, if we think about bifurcating the piezoelectric devices as per the different specialization streams, so you have different type of piezoelectric devices. So if you think about optics, photonics and measuring technology, so there piezoelectric devices could be used in image processing, it could be used in getting the morphology in scanning electron microscope, it could be used in autofocus systems. All these are optical devices, interferometry. So it helps in yielding the optical characteristics of any material what you are using for devices. And also it is used in fast mirror scanners, adaptive and active optics, laser tuning, mirror positioning, simulation of vibrations, in this kind of. If you want to focus on mechanical engineering and precision mechanics, the devices which are still now familiar are vibration cancellation. So it helps in cancellation of the vibration, because making vibration will not yield with a good result if it is unnecessary vibration. It is just a noise, right? So you have to overcome. So how to cancel these vibrations? Based on the sensings, the actuator can take the action based on the instruction provided by the controller. So this is how it works. And again, structural deformation, to sense and to overcome the structural deformation. And then it is also used in drilling, turning, grinding operations, tool adjustment, wear correction. So where there is a needle valve actuation purpose, sometimes in micro pumps, linear drives, piezo hammers, normal hammers are also there, piezo hammers are also there, knife edge controller, micro engraving systems, shock wave generations. So these are the field within mechanical engineering where you can use the piezoelectric devices. Apart from that, it is also used in micro electronics, in nanometrology concept, water and mask positioning, critical dimensions, microlithography. It is the most running important tool in microelectronics related to piezoelectric devices. Inspection system. So my lithography is usually used to make thin films. So it has a different process strategies one has to follow very keen at micro level. So at that case also piezoelectric device could be used with good amount of accuracy. So it is running very good enough in microlithography. And even in microelectronics level, the vibration cancellation could be used, similar to that of our mechanical engineering stream. And then based on the disk drive, it could be also used in MR head testing, pole tip precision, disk pin stands, vibration cancellation, even in this. And the last is related to the life science, medicine, and biology aspect. It could be used as a panched clamp drivers in gene determination technologies, in micro manipulation, cell penetration, micro dispensing devices, shock wave generation. It is in order to generate shock waves for some physiotherapy treatments. Okay, so audio physiological stimulation. Sometimes the person stimulation is not very well, so the physiological aspect. So how to stimulate the physiological thinking capability. So in that way also you can use some piezoelectric devices which will be able to stimulate the physiological aspect by accelerating in one way. So it helps in providing some action so that the physiological simulation goes on very smoothly. And cell penetrations in biological aspects if it is not working properly. So in this many way you can find large amount of devices with respect to different fields which are there in existence already, but many are of lead based one, and it has to be replaced by lead free. So by 2016 they have banned totally the lead based these applications. Now people, there is a huge market for lead free and many are striving hard, and few of the devices are also there in the market, but still not many, because they should find a very optimized material to suit to that of the PZT, means the lead based one. After that, you should also know the first practical application of piezoelectric device. If they ask you about the history, the application, something, you should be knowing the gathering the information right from when it started, what happened, how it got originated, what are its principles, applications, all those things you should be aware enough. Then only you can list out everything related to the asked question. So first practical application of piezoelectric device came across during World War One in the year 1917. They first developed the device called sonar. Okay, in the World War One. So this is it. It was invented in the year 1880 by Pierre Curie, but the device was made nearly 200 years. In 1970, the first device on piezoelectric came into the market due to World War One. And you can also find the daily uses of piezoelectric devices, right? The what we call the fuel injector, or even in the gas stove, we can use this injectors so that the gas get ignited, even in kerosene stove. So many other applications in day-to-day activities. So which main application is to produce a spark and get the required ignition. And some people are nowadays using in outdoor barbecue. The people who go and have non-veg, they might have noticed, even they will see in outdoor barbecues the regular usage of gas, even in fuel injection and in kerosene based of stove. The smart road, what I told, now initially this has been developed in some of the railway stations as a project to see that how amount of energy could be generated in the form of electrical voltage. So here they will just make a device. So what it covers is soft, the cover is soft, and only device directly stepped on generate electricity. So these will be the piezoelectric bulk samples which will be laid in a same line. Okay, so this will be covered and packed properly at the bottom and at the top. So above that you will be having a vibrating plate, sorry. So about that will be your floor. So when you walk on it, the stress will be subjected to the plate here. It gets vibrated and it increases the variation of the load uniformly over the entire device, and that will directly subject on our samples. So the amount of electrical power released by each bulk sample will be transmitted to our storage battery. And same thing, the smart road, what I have told, it could be used if you just develop a smart road for 1 kilometer also when a car has been moving. So the amount of load which is subjected will be passed through the piezoelectric generator. So the amount of electricity generated could be able to light at least minimum 2 lamps. Okay, so this is the functionality of it. Similarly, it could be used in function halls are in dancing floors, so amount of energy put on those piezoelectric generators you can see here, so that helps in generating a good amount of electrical power. So when the person dances, so more amount of load he is putting on the floor. So if you have a floor embedded along with this piezoelectric generators, so it will be really helpful to generate a huge amount of electrical power. So it could be used in the places where it has been dance floor is been utilized for a continuous period of time, yeah, in evening time also. So it will be benefited. So you can see the options in which where it could be used and how you can extract from the waste useful electrical power, because nowadays getting electrical power of the requirement is becoming a difficult task. Yeah, so finally power generation is been done in different means by using piezoelectric crystals, and these are being started with a positive result. Even though it is started with a positive result, the amount of electrical power generated by a single crystal is very less and it is in microvolt. So you should modify, fine tune the materials to make the crystal so strong enough that you can get a large amount of electrical power from it. Even though we get in millivolt, continuous storage of the electricity which is obtained in the form of an storage battery will help in getting good amount of electrical power, and use this concept as a promising source for generating the electricity. So before going into the mathematical equations, you should be knowing some strong foundation about the concepts and some key terms. I've told you ferroelectricity already. So what do you mean by ferroelectrics? So ferroelectrics are the class of dielectric material which exhibits spontaneous polarization. Means you have a dielectric material, you have applied an electric field to it, so it induces some mechanical deformation. I'm telling the converse. So even if though you remove the electrical field, if the material is having the capability to induce mechanical deformation in it, then you call that as a spontaneous polarization, because it has some capability of the polarized nature within it, so that it can exhibit even though the electric field is removed. So this is called as spontaneous polarization. So that it gets due to the dipole moment. So dipole moment is obtained only when there is a proper polarization. So when there is a proper polarization, you will get the required dipole moment, and that mechanical deformation takes place even though there is an absence of an electric field. Okay, so if this happens, then it is purely an ferroelectric material. All piezoelectric material can be Piezoelectric material come under the classification of ferroelectric, but all piezoelectric material cannot be called as ferroelectric material. If only it has the capability of spontaneous polarization, then only you can tell that it is under ferroelectric property. If a material exhibits ferroelectric property, then it will be really having an hysteresis loop that you have to understand. So the spontaneous polarization of ferroelectric material can be switched by applying an electric field. So its expression is typically called PE hysteresis loop. Okay, so this you can understand. I hope you have studied the hysteresis loop in your material science all. I'm just relating to this. Okay, so this is the direction of electrical field, and this is the direction of the polarization effect. So suppose you have a ferroelectric material which has been polarized and ready to check the ferroelectric nature, your piezoelectric nature. So then you start applying the electric field. So when you apply the electric field, the polarization of the material increases and it reaches the maximum here. So when the polarization reaches the maximum and it has been completed, then you will off the electric field. So when you off the electric field, still what happens? There will be spontaneous polarization in the material because it is ferroelectric. It has retained the polarized effect in it, so it will be having some amount of polarization. So even after electric field is removed, it comes here and stops. So this is the word here given, P suffix R. P suffix R is nothing but the remnant polarization. Means remnant polarization tells the amount of polarization retained in the body even when there is no electrical field subjected to it. So always we refer to the remnant polarization value than that of spontaneous polarization value, because spontaneous polarization will be for a matter of seconds or minutes. But once you cut the electrical field, it comes back, and when it touches the y axis at y-intercept, you will come to know what is the capability of that material to store the polarization effect even when the electrical field is not there. So that is very essential, because when you use a piezoelectric material and do a device, after doing the device you will polarize once, then the sample will be polarized, you tell. So the polarized sample, you will use it for doing your required activity. You cannot keep on polarizing the sample each and every time for its usage, because once you do the polarization, there should be some polarization effect in the body for a certain period of time. Then only you can use that device to get the output from mechanical strain to that of electrical, yeah, from electrical to mechanical displacement. If it is fluctuating and if does not have any capability to store the polarization, then you cannot call that as a capable material to get the required output. So this remnant polarization plays an important role that you have to keep in mind. And after this, gradually it reduces. The electrical power reduces and comes down. So here the value will be completely zero. At this stage, you will again apply the electrical field in the opposite direction. So when you apply the electric field in the opposite direction, it again reaches the maximum of spontaneous polarization in the opposite direction. Okay, so once you have reached the polarization in the opposite direction, you will again stop the electric field. So it gradually reduces and come and touch the y-intercept. So this is again the remnant polarization, but in opposite direction. Please understand, the remnant polarization above x-axis, above y-axis, and the remnant polarization below. So both will be same in magnitude, only the direction change. Here it will be positive, here it will be negative. And similarly, after this, gradually it comes and touches the x intercept. So this here we will name usually called as E suffix C. It is not mentioned here. It is called as a coercive field. So the coercive field here and the coercive field behind the y-axis both will be same. Only here it will be positive and this will be the negative. So this is, if they ask you what is the coercive field, you should be able to tell this is the coercive field. The value from 0 to this point, you will measure what is it, and you will claim this is the coercive field which is necessary to get a spontaneous polarization of this value. And you will also put forward that the remnant polarization was this much picocoulomb per Newton. So by listening to the values of the coercive field and remnant polarization, one can tell how good your device is, how good your piezoelectric material is. So this is about the hysteresis loop. And similarly, you can get the stress strain diagram in the form of an butterfly structure. Okay, so this will be the subjection of electrical field and this will be the direction of the strain induced. Usually we get this butterfly structure by using Precision Premium 2 equipment, even it is a very costly device. So by using Precision Premier 2 a ferro electric material apparatus, you can get both the hysteresis nature and the butterfly structure of a device for which you have done the polarization. So always before going into the actual work, once you polarize, if you check the hysteresis loop and the butterfly structure of the material for which the polarization is done, you will come to know how good you have done the polarization by knowing the P suffix R value, which is nothing but remnant polarization. So if the remnant polarization retained by that material is very low, then you can think about polarizing it for some other time period or changing the domain direction, whatever. Blindly, we should not go to checking the characteristics, the functional characteristics like piezoelectric charge coefficient only by doing the polarization effect. So this is about the hysteresis loop, what you have to understand. I hope you people are able to understand. Any doubts, kindly ask. Are you people there?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so before mathematical equation, again few things related to piezoelectricity. You know what you mean by piezoelectricity, how it happens. So piezoelectrics are a class of dielectric material. You cannot think piezoelectric means it has all the conductivity in it. It is purely a dielectric material which can be polarized only by application of electrical field. Okay, and also by mechanical stresses. So that is been exhibited here. So if it is not visible, I'll just extend. So what happens here is how the piezoelectricity is achieved means you will be having a electrical field what you subject. Okay, you will be having a crystal here, piezoelectric crystal. So when you subject the electrical field, it will get polarized, right? So the crystal, if you apply the stress, it induces the related strain. So in between stress and strain, always you will be having an elastic nature, elasticity. So from stress to strain and from strain to stress, you can get the reverse. And also the electric field applied, the type of strain you get could be either the indirect your reverse polarization effect. And again from field to stress, what factors comes into picture is our piezoelectricity. So here electromechanical coupling effect comes into picture. So it is nothing but the piezoelectricity effect which is there. So it mainly depends upon what is the electromechanical factor. So conversion from mechanical to electrical. So it is not like for entire applied stress, the same amount of electrical power will be generated. There will be some losses, obviously. So these lacunas might be due to the drawback of the polarization, how you have done, or due to the way how you have prepared the device, or if any contamination in the device making, the exact load applied cannot be converted into electrical field. If you have synthesized properly, if the device is free from contaminations, right, so then you can have a good amount of electromechanical factor. Also this electromechanical factor will play a vital role in determining which material you are using. I can tell you lead based piezoelectric material like lead zirconium titanate has the highest electromechanical coupling factor. But now available lead free piezoelectric materials still are struggling to get that value. Why? Because it has a good lattice structure of orthorhombic to rhombohedral. FA's diagram shows how good it is in its properties. So that amount of consistency is not still achieved in lead-free based. And hence by seeing the electromechanical factor, you can see that how good the conversion is from the stress to that of the electrical field. So you should know all these factors before going into the mathematical equations. And you know this piezoelectric effect, right? So but how it happens within the crystal you should understand. So to make you understand, because without all these concepts you cannot derive the mathematical modeling, you'll be just blindly sitting, what is this? You should try to understand. So here I've told you what is piezoelectricity. I've told you what is piezoelectric phenomena. I've told you what is piezoelectric effect, direct and converse effect. And you know the concept. Okay, it happens like this. But what happens within the crystal that you should be aware of? So that thing has been explained only by taking a simple example of a molecular model here. So the diagram A here shows a molecule without any piezoelectric polarization. Okay, so it is a molecule with no polarization effect. Means previously the molecule might have been poled and it retains some remnant polarization in it. Now I won't tell only polarization, I'll tell you remnant polarization. I've explained you what is it. When you apply the electric field, it reaches an hike in the polarization, that is spontaneous. After removal of the electric field, it will retain some amount of polarization in it. So the amount of polarization retained is called as a remnant polarization. So now onwards, you should be aware of the technical words. So I've explained you all the concepts. So this shows a diagram with no polarization, but it can consist of the polarization effect after the polarization. Means it will be having some amount of remnant polarization in it because it is polarized previously, not in current thing. So the second diagram shows the molecule subjected to an external force. So this is a molecule which is polarized previously. So it is retaining some amount of polarization. I mean to say it has some amount of remnant polarization. So the polarized molecule is now subjected to certain external force. So that is being shown here. So due to this applied force, what happens is there is change in the shape of the crystal. So this crystal has now deformed, right? So due to the polarization and due to the applied force. So the external force is shown in the direction F suffix K. So which results in aligning the domains of the polarization in one particular direction, that is shown as P suffix K. So this is the result which happens in polarization. There will be some remnant polarization in the molecule A, but when the load is been applied, then it results some change in polarization of the ions. So that is being shown in the diagram here. So due to this polarization phenomenon, the polarization effect comes into picture. So you can see now all the domains are aligned in a common direction. So here it was in different directions with some remnant polarization. Then you applied the force. So the body got deformed. Due to the deformation, all the ions rotated along a particular direction. So this domain rotation also depends on the direction in which you are applying the load. So due to the load, always a polarization effect goes in opposite direction to the load in which you are applying. So this is the direction in which the load applied. So here all the ions are being tilted towards this direction, towards your left. So you can see the alignment of all the molecules. This I have shown for only one molecule. Here you have a set of molecules here. So with positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. So these are the ion charges which are aligned. So now all the dipoles are aligned in a particular direction. So now the system is ready for piezoelectric effect. So from this you will understand applying the load helps in rotating all the molecules within the crystal in a proper direction. When it is rotated in a proper direction, it helps to transmit the stress continuously from one end to the other and respond to the outer stimuli and get the required voltage. So this is how the piezoelectric effect comes into picture within the crystal with respect to the molecule. Hope it is understandable. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the concept of piezoelectric effect which has been described you in practical, because all these things are necessary for mathematical formulation. Without that, if I directly go for mathematical formulation, you will feel something different. So once I have shown you now the piezoelectric effect. After the sample is ready for piezoelectric measurement, so that has to be connected to some media where you get the piezoelectric phenomenon. So this is the sample of the piezoelectric crystal which is being observed. So when you see the diagram only, you can tell that the given sample has been polarized because all the molecules are aligned properly. It is not in different directions, scattered. It is systematically aligned. That itself shows it is a polarized sample. So you will be having all positive charges at one end and all negative charges at one end developed. So here what happens, this is the crystal and you will be applying the force in this direction. Due to the applied force, set of negative charges and positive charges will be across towards the surface of the given crystal. And there will be an amount of current flowing through the channel of the circuit. So this current will be always neutralized current flow between the terminal of piezoelectric material. So it will be neutralized. It won't disturb the given crystal. So it is just to balance the given crystal with respect to the force applied. So the amount of current which flows will be of always a neutralized current flow. So this happens only when the terminal of the piezoelectric material is subjected to an external force, or it has to be short circuited. Okay, so when it is short circuited, first constraint is when it is applied to some external force, or else it has to be short circuited, means the circuit should be closed here. And then also it will allow to pass a current which is neutralized, means it will be having plus and minus here together. So the absence of any current through the short circuit when material is in an unperturbed state. So what happens is the absence of any current through the short circuit when the material is in undisturbed state. So if there is any absence of current in the circuit made along with the system in an undisturbed state, if it is disturbed, if the circuit is break open or some short circuit happens, then you cannot bear and neutralize current flow in it. It results in the damage for the given crystal. One more thing you have to notice. What is the difference between these two diagrams? Can anyone tell me? Concept I have explained. How about the orientation of the molecules? If you have understood, you will tell me quickly. Hello? How about the condition of the molecules in the figure A and figure B? How is the position of the molecules at figure A? How is the position of the molecules at figure B? What is the difference you are understanding?
It is enlarged in first one, ma'am.
It is enlarged in first one. That's all. Are there positive and negative charges along with the molecule here?
No, ma'am.
They are positively charged, ma'am.
See properly. In which stage you can tell it has remnant polarization in it?
First.
Is it first? In first, the sample is polarized and then you are subjecting the force. Due to the subjection of the force, the negative and the positive charges are accumulated across the surface. Right? In this case, it will be having full polarization, spontaneous polarization it will be having. In the next, it is just an closed short circuit. Here there is no load subjection. Even though load is not subjected, it has some current charges which is passing uniformly. So what is this? This is due to the polarization effect, the amount of electricity retained even after removal of the load. Hope you can understand now. So that tells you the remnant polarization. That's why I'm telling you kindly observe the diagrams. If you just listen without understanding, it will be very difficult. You have to solve problems also. You have mathematical modeling equations also. Okay. So please understand the concepts. Please go through the recordings. I will just share in the Google Classroom also, in the YouTube channel also. So while coming to the next class, you should be thorough. I will be sharing a link for the quiz later. So from next class, we will start with the linear theory of piezoelectricity. So you will understand this if you have understood this properly. So, or else there was no need for me to explain these concepts, even though I have moved out of the syllabus. Okay, this was not needed, but you have to understand this as a prerequisite for solving the mathematical equation. So I just explained you. So now answer your attendance. Hope you have everyone written your name in the chat room. You have any doubts, you're free to ask before that. So Kruth, hope you understood. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I think today only you have joined for the class, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Why you didn't come from the beginning?
Actually, I tried in the last two classes, ma'am, but due to some network issue, I could not join you.
Please go through the videos shared. At the end of the completion, I'll share my PPT also, some of the notes material, so that will be helpful for you to understand. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mithun, you're there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I hope even you are joined late.
No, ma'am.
Sandesh is there. Dhanush,
Yes, ma'am.
Srinidhi,
Yes, ma'am.
Mohan Ambal. Hope all of you are understanding the concepts clearly. It is an interesting subject. Along with that, you should be little bit strong enough in your mathematics and concepts of piezoelectricity also. Okay. So that it helps you to score well in your examination and to gain knowledge. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then take care. Have a nice day. We'll meet. And one more thing, I have some this VGST presentation tomorrow for some research grants, and I have a class also at the same time. I don't know if I'll be able to take the class or not of tomorrow's. If I'm not able to take, I will be just assigning you some work so that you have to do and complete within that duration. Okay, because that is some research grants what I cannot deny. The time has been fixed already. So in that case, I will be assigning some task in the Google Classroom. You will log in, do and submit me that. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, then
Okay.
take care and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye bye.